The Lost Moon Garden, a deep sleep journey under starlight, símbolo de luna creciente, destellos hierba. Beneath the quiet shimmer of an endless night sky, there lies a place whispered about only in dreams, a hidden sanctuary known as the Lost Moon Garden. It is said to appear only to those whose hearts carry both longing and wonder, drawing them across silver-lit rivers, through forests that breathe with starlight, and under skies painted with galaxies unknown to waking eyes. Here, moonflowers unfurl in slow motion, releasing the soft glow of forgotten memories. Here, time moves like a gentle tide, and every step you take leads you deeper into a world where the soul can finally rest. In this 2-hour immersive journey, you will wander ancient pathways, listen to the quiet songs of the night wind, and follow the trail of a luminous seed, a gift that holds the key to a choice that will shape not only your dreams, but the paths you take beyond them. Guided by the soft pull of moonlight, you will drift between wonder and stillness, mystery and peace, until you find yourself standing at the edge of forever. Close your eyes. Let the starlit currents carry you. The Lost Moon Garden is waiting. And tonight, it opens for you. The moonlit gate, símbolo de luna creciente. The night was unusually calm, as if the entire sky was holding its breath. Stars shimmered with a delicate glow, scattered like diamond dust over an endless black velvet. You walked along a narrow, winding path, the cool earth beneath your feet whispering with each step. The air carried the faint, sweet fragrance of unseen flowers, a scent so gentle that it felt like a memory from a dream you once had but couldn't quite recall. Ahead, a silver shimmer began to form in the darkness, not from the stars above, but from something far more magical. As you drew closer, you saw it, an archway of pale moonstone, tall and elegant, standing alone in the middle of the path. Its edges glowed softly, as though it had been carved from the moon itself. This was no ordinary gate. The moment you stepped near, the air around you grew warmer, wrapping you in a gentle embrace. The stone pulsed faintly, as if alive, and the sound of distant, flowing water reached your ears. Somewhere beyond this gate lay a place hidden from the waking world, a place where night reigned eternal and the moon's silver light nourished all living things. Taking a slow, steady breath, you stepped forward, your fingertips brushing the cool surface of the moonstone. The archway shimmered, its light blooming brighter until it felt as though the stars themselves had bent down to greet you. And with one more step, you crossed into the Lost Moon Garden. The river of silver dreams, hola destellos. The moment you stepped through the moonlit gate, the air shifted. It was softer here, almost velvety against your skin, and every breath you took seemed to carry a gentle sweetness that made your chest feel warm. Above, the sky was darker than night, yet filled with light, a soft glow from a moon larger and closer than you had ever seen before. It bathed the entire landscape in a silver wash, making every leaf, every petal, every grain of sand glisten as if dusted with frost. You followed the faint sound of flowing water until you reached the edge of a river unlike any in the waking world. Its waters shimmered with liquid light, the surface catching the moon's reflection and scattering it into rippling fragments. It wasn't just water, it was as if the stars themselves had melted into a stream and were now drifting past you, whispering secrets in a language you could almost understand. Kneeling at the edge, you dipped your fingers into the current. It was cool, not cold, and the sensation spread instantly through your hand and up your arm, as though the river was sharing its dreams with you. For a moment, your mind was filled with images, a white fox running across snowy hills, a garden blooming under midnight skies, a long-forgotten melody carried by the wind. A small, crescent-shaped boat floated gently toward you, its body carved from pale wood and lined with cushions that glowed faintly. No oars, no sail, just a quiet invitation. The river wanted you to follow it, to see where its silver path would lead. You stepped inside, sinking into the soft seat, and the boat drifted forward, carried effortlessly by the current. The gentle sway lulled you into a calm trance as the water sang a lullaby only the moon could compose. Somewhere ahead, you knew, the heart of the lost moon garden was waiting for you, and perhaps something even more magical than you could imagine. The moonlit voyage begins. Lancha rápida vía láctea. The boat glided as if guided by an invisible hand, each ripple in the silver river spreading outward like the rings of time. The sound of the current was soft but layered, the murmur of water meeting stone, the faint tinkling like wind chimes hidden somewhere far away, and beneath it all, a steady heartbeat, as if the river itself was alive. You leaned back against the glowing cushions, feeling their warmth seep gently into your skin. They weren't heated by fire or sun, but by something gentler, a kind of ancient moonlight woven into the fabric. Every time your head rested on the cushion, you could almost hear faint whispers, telling stories in a language so old it felt like music more than speech. Overhead, the moon drifted slowly in the deep velvet sky, but it was not the moon of your waking world. It was larger, its surface marked by glowing rivers of light instead of shadows. Around it, constellations shimmered, but they didn't stay still, they moved gracefully, as if dancing to some silent rhythm. A cluster of stars curved into the shape of a swan, then melted into the form of a great tree, before scattering again into 1,000 tiny lights. The riverbanks passed slowly on either side. Sometimes they rose into gentle hills draped in silvery grass that swayed without wind. Other times, they dipped low, revealing shallow pools where glowing fish lapped gracefully, their scales flashing like polished crystal. You caught the reflection of your own eyes in the water, and for a moment, they seemed brighter, like they too had caught a piece of moonlight. The scent of night-blooming flowers filled the air, a soft fragrance of jasmine, mingled with something unfamiliar yet comforting. Each inhalation made your chest feel lighter, as if a little weight you didn't know you carried was being lifted away. The boat took a gentle turn, and in the distance, you saw something that made your breath catch, a vast archway of vines and blossoms, each flower glowing with a pale blue light. The arch stood across the river, as if marking the entrance to another world entirely. Teeny motes of light drifted through it like drifting fireflies, vanishing the moment they touched the water. Your fingers trailed in the current again, and you realized the water's song had changed. It was slower now, deeper, like a voice calling you closer. The air grew cooler, yet it wasn't uncomfortable, it was the kind of coolness that reminded you of lying under the stars on a still summer night. As the boat passed beneath the archway, the world seemed to hold its breath. The stars overhead flared a little brighter, and the riverbank bloomed in slow motion, petals unfolding in the moonlight as though they'd been waiting for your arrival. Ahead, the silver river widened into a vast, tranquil lake. At its center stood an island, not dark and distant, but glowing softly as if cradled by the moon. From this distance, you could make out twisting paths lined with flowers, a great tree with branches like silver lace, and a faint shimmering mist that wrapped the island in mystery. You felt it in your heart, this was the beginning of the true journey. The lost moon garden was near, and it was ready to share its secrets with you. Whispering shores of the silver lake o la símbolo de luna creciente. The boat slowed as it reached the edge of the vast, mirror-like lake. The surface was so still, so impossibly smooth, that it reflected the entire night sky with perfect clarity, as if you were floating between two heavens, one above and one beneath you. The oar, when it dipped into the water, created ripples that spread out in soft rings, bending the stars in gentle waves before they reformed again, flawless as ever. A faint breeze drifted over the lake, carrying with it the scent of something sweet and otherworldly, not the fragrance of ordinary flowers, but of blossoms that only existed in dreams. It was a scent you could almost taste, delicate like spun sugar, but with a cool, clean note that made your chest rise a little easier with every breath. The boat glided toward the glowing island at the center of the lake. From afar, you could now see the shapes more clearly. Tall, silver-leaf trees swayed gently even without wind, their branches dripping with clusters of luminescent flowers. Each petal seemed to hold a tiny, flickering flame of moonlight. When a flower loosened and drifted down, it landed softly on the water, floating away like a little lantern set adrift in a midnight festival. As you drew closer, you began to hear it, a sound too subtle to be called music, yet too harmonious to be mere noise. It was the voice of the island itself, a soft weaving of whispers, like the sigh of ancient roots deep in the earth mingling with the shimmer of starlight above. It wasn't in words, but you understood it all the same. It was a welcome. The shoreline approached, a soft curve of pale sand, almost glowing, as though the moonlight had seeped into every grain. When the boat's hull finally brushed the shore, there was no harsh scraping, only the quiet sigh of water retreating, as if the lake itself were making room for you. You stepped onto the sand, and it felt impossibly soft beneath your feet, not dry and gritty, but cool and smooth, as though it had been shaped over centuries by the hands of gentle tides. Above you, the great silver tree rose like a living cathedral, its trunk wide enough to hold hidden chambers, its roots stretching out into the lake like bridges to other realms. Somewhere deeper in the island, a faint trail of glowing petals marked the path. It wound between small pools of water so clear you could see tiny silver fish darting through them, their bodies leaving trails of light in their wake. The path seemed to beckon you, inviting you to leave the shore behind and venture into the island's heart. The air here was unlike anywhere you had been, it was still, but alive, as if holding the hum of ancient magic. You felt a calm so deep it touched the very edges of your thoughts, smoothing away every restless ripple of the day. Somewhere ahead, hidden within the lush glow of the island, lay the lost moon garden, and you knew that the moment you crossed into it, your journey would change forever. The path of falling petals, flor de cerezo, símbolo de luna creciente. You take your first step onto the glowing path, and at once, the sound of the lake behind you fades into a distant hum, as though the island has drawn you into its own secret heartbeat. The petals under your feet are not just lying on the ground, they float a little above it, drifting gently as though suspended in invisible water. Each time your foot touches one, it bursts into a shimmer of light, then reforms behind you, leaving the path perfectly whole again. The trees along the trail lean inward, their silver leaves forming a graceful arch overhead. Moonlight filters through in soft beams, and tiny motes of glowing dust drift lazily in the air, like particles of a dream that hasn't yet fully settled. The scent here is sweeter than on the shore, not heavy or overpowering, but layered, as if every breath carries a memory of a faraway spring, of nights when the world was young and the stars were closer. You notice that the path curves gently, never straight, as if it's designed to slow you down, to make you linger and notice. And so you do, you notice how the petals sometimes rise and swirl in small whirlwinds, how the leaves seem to tilt toward you as you pass, and how the air is filled with a faint sound like soft chimes stirred by an invisible tide. A moment comes when you stop, without quite knowing why. Ahead of you, the path dips slightly into a hollow filled with a low mist that glows from within, as though the ground itself is lit by buried moonstones. The mist moves slowly, curling and unfolding like delicate silk in a slow current. You feel no chill, instead, there is a comforting warmth here, the kind that seeps into your skin and stays. Somewhere in the mist, a shape moves, not threatening, but graceful, like a ripple in still water. Then it comes closer, and you see it, a luminous deer, its fur a pale silver, its eyes deep pools of starlight. It pauses at the edge of the path, watching you with a calm that is almost human. For a long, unhurried moment, you simply stand together in the glowing mist, the air between you charged with unspoken understanding. Then, without a sound, the deer turns and walks deeper into the mist, its hooves leaving trails of light in the air. You follow, feeling as though this was always meant to happen, as though the garden itself had sent this gentle guide to lead you where words could not. The mist thins, the path straightens, and you realize you are standing before a great archway of intertwined branches, each covered in blooms of pure white light. Beyond it lies something hidden, something that breathes with the same slow rhythm as your own heartbeat. You know, without knowing how, that once you step through that arch, you will finally enter the heart of the lost moon garden. Into the heart of the garden hierba símbolo de luna creciente. You step beneath the great archway of glowing blooms, and the world changes. It isn't sudden, there is no flash of light, no dramatic shift, only a gentle, seamless unfolding, like a dream melting into another dream. The air is warmer here, wrapped in a softness that feels almost like being underwater, though every breath is light and easy. A faint hum vibrates through the ground beneath your feet, a sound so deep and low that it feels more like a heartbeat than a song. The path beneath you becomes softer, cushioned by a thick carpet of moss that glows faintly with its own inner light. Each step sinks ever so slightly, as though the earth is welcoming you, adjusting to your weight. The moss releases a subtle fragrance when pressed, something fresh and green, like rain-soaked leaves after a spring shower. The trees inside the heart of the garden are taller than any you have seen before, their trunks smooth and silvery, their branches curving upward in elegant spirals. From every spiral hangs a lantern-shaped flower, each one swaying gently even though there is no wind. Inside each bloom is a small drop of liquid light, trembling but never falling. The silver deer walks ahead, pausing now and then to glance back at you, as though making sure you follow. At one point, it stops beside a pool so still and clear that it seems like a piece of the night sky has fallen to the ground. You kneel beside it, and when you look into its depths, you see not your reflection, but shifting constellations, stars moving slowly across a dark velvet sky, as though the pool holds the memory of countless nights. A soft sound catches your ear, not water, not wind, but something else. It's like the quiet hum of voices far away, whispering in a language you don't recognize yet somehow understand. The sound guides you forward, deeper still, until the trees open into a wide clearing. Here, the ground is covered with silver grass that shimmers like frost under the moon. In the center of the clearing rises a single tree, unlike any other, its trunk so white it almost glows, and its canopy a spill of luminous petals drifting endlessly downward, disappearing before they touch the earth. You realize, in a slow and certain way, that this is the heart of the lost moon garden, the place where every breeze, every glow, every petal you've seen has begun its journey. It is not simply a tree, but something alive in a deeper sense, a guardian, perhaps, or the soul of the garden itself. The deer stops beside it, lowering its head in silent reverence. You feel an answering pull in your chest, not fear, not even curiosity, but a quiet, profound peace that tells you that here, you could stay forever. The doorway of Moonlight símbolo de luna creciente destellos. You stand before the great moon tree, its petals still drifting soundlessly through the air like flakes of silver snow. Each one seems to glow brighter for a heartbeat before vanishing into nothing, as if it has been called somewhere beyond sight. The silver deer is still at the tree's base, its gaze fixed on the trunk, as though waiting for something. Then you notice it, a pulse of light, faint but rhythmic, moving along the bark. It's not a trick of your eyes, the glow runs in spirals around the trunk, almost like veins carrying liquid moonlight. You reach out to touch it, and the surface is warm beneath your fingertips, humming softly. The hum travels into your hand, up your arm, and into your chest, syncing perfectly with your own heartbeat. Slowly, the light gathers in one spot on the trunk, condensing into a perfect circle about the size of your palm. The mossy ground around you becomes utterly still. The deer steps closer, and for the first time, you hear it make a sound, a soft, bell-like chime that echoes through the clearing. The glowing circle ripples, like a drop of water falling into a still pond, and then it begins to deepen, becoming a hollow. What was once solid wood now looks like a pool of liquid light, swirling and beckoning you forward. You realize, this is a doorway. Not carved by hands, but grown by the tree itself, perhaps waiting for years, maybe centuries, for you. The deer steps into the light first, its silver body dissolving into a cascade of sparks that vanish inside. You take a deep breath. The air smells sweeter now, tinged with something like night-blooming jasmine. You place one foot into the glowing surface, and it is neither solid nor liquid, it feels like stepping into warm starlight. The moment both feet are inside, the world around you folds away. You are no longer in the clearing. Instead, you stand in a corridor of light, the floor beneath you shimmering like glass, the walls made of drifting constellations. Stars slide slowly along them, each one whispering in that same strange language you heard earlier. Somewhere ahead, a faint glow pulses like a beacon, the next step of your journey. You take it, feeling the air here is somehow even softer, as though each breath carries the weight of 1,000 dreams. The garden in the sky Via Láctea Hierba. The glowing corridor stretches forward, bending and twisting like a ribbon caught in a gentle breeze. Each step feels effortless, as if the floor itself is carrying you. The hum you felt earlier is still there, low, constant, and soothing, like a lullaby sung by the moon itself. Gradually, the light ahead grows stronger, warmer. You step through the end of the corridor and into a place that defies everything you thought you knew. Above you, or perhaps below, hangs an upside-down forest. Towering trees grow from what appears to be the sky, their roots curling toward you like tangled silver threads. Their leaves shimmer like crystal, catching the faint light of drifting constellations. When they sway, they release tiny glowing seeds that float lazily through the air, falling upward instead of down. A winding stone path appears beneath your feet, carved from smooth pieces of moonstone that glow faintly with each step. Around you, the air smells of rain on warm earth, though there are no clouds, no storms. A soft breeze brushes your face, and you realize it carries voices, gentle, wordless voices that feel like they are speaking directly to your heart. You walk slowly, your eyes unable to take in everything at once. There are flowers here shaped like little suns, their petals opening and closing with each heartbeat. Small pools of water hang suspended in midair, their surfaces rippling despite the stillness around them. When you reach out, one of these floating pools drifts toward your hand and touches your fingertips, sending a ripple of warmth through your entire body. Then you see it, at the far end of the path stands an enormous archway woven from silver vines. It hangs in midair, unattached to anything, yet perfectly still. Inside its frame, the sky glows a deeper shade of gold, and you can see shadows moving within, not threatening, but curious, like guardians waiting for your arrival. The silver deer appears once again, but now its antlers are blooming with tiny white flowers. It glances back at you, as if to say, "Follow me," before stepping gracefully through the archway. Somewhere deep inside, you feel it, this is not just a dream. You are moving toward the heart of the moon garden, toward a place where the stars themselves may speak. The first secret of the lost moon garden, símbolo de luna creciente de Estrellas Hierba. The moment you pass through the silver archway, the world changes. It is not a sudden shift, but a slow unfurling, like the petals of a flower opening to the dawn. The air thickens with golden mist, warm and comforting, as if it's wrapping you in an embrace. The ground beneath your feet becomes softer, covered in velvety moss that glows faintly under the starlight. In the distance, you hear a gentle, rhythmic sound. At first it seems like water lapping against a shore, but as you listen closer, you realize it's the steady breathing of the garden itself. Every tree, every leaf, every drop of floating water, they are alive in a way that goes beyond life. They are awake. The silver deer steps ahead, its hooves making no sound. You follow, feeling a pull in your chest, a quiet urging to keep going, as if the garden has been waiting for you. Soon, you come to a small clearing. In its center stands a tree unlike any you've ever seen. Its trunk is pale and luminous, as though made of moonlight solidified into wood. From its branches hang orbs of light, each one gently swaying as though moved by an invisible tide. You notice that each orb contains something inside, teeny, perfect memories suspended in light. The deer lowers its head and nudges one of the orbs toward you. The light grows brighter, and suddenly your mind is filled with a vision. You are standing in a place far above the clouds, looking down at the earth bathed in silver light. The stars are close enough to touch, and the wind carries whispers in a language you somehow understand. It tells you that this garden exists in the seam between waking and dreaming, a bridge between your deepest self and the endless sky. As the vision fades, the deer speaks, not with its mouth, but directly into your thoughts. The first secret of the Lost Moon Garden is this: every dream you have ever forgotten still lives here. Every hope, every wish you thought had vanished, is still blooming among these trees. You feel your chest tighten, not with fear, but with a deep, almost aching comfort. You realize that this is not just a place for rest, it is a sanctuary for the parts of you that the world may have overlooked, but the stars have always kept safe. And somewhere deeper in the garden, more secrets are waiting. The son of the stars vía láctea varias notas musicales hierba. The silver deer moves again, and you follow without hesitation. The path curves gently, weaving through walls of luminous ferns and flowers that sway in a breeze you cannot feel. Overhead, the moon drapes the garden in a soft blue glow, but you notice something strange. The light doesn't seem to come from above anymore, it comes from everywhere. Then you hear it. At first, it's only a faint vibration in the air, like the hum of a distant harp string. But with each step, it grows richer, warmer, until it surrounds you completely. It is music, not made by instruments, but by the stars themselves. Their voices are pure and endless, flowing through the silver threads of the night. The deer pauses at the edge of a crystal pond. The water is so still it reflects the sky above perfectly, creating the illusion that you are standing between two heavens, one above, one below. Listen, the deer's voice echoes softly inside your mind. You close your eyes. The music sharpens, and now you can hear the words hidden within the melody. They speak of journeys across light years, of ancient skies that have watched civilizations rise and fade, of the eternal patience of the cosmos. The stars tell you that your life, like theirs, has its own rhythm, sometimes fast and chaotic, sometimes slow and still. But no matter how it changes, the sun is always there, waiting to guide you. As you listen, something stirs inside you. You remember nights long ago when you stared at the sky and felt small, yet safe, as if the universe was vast enough to hold every dream you ever dared to imagine. That same comfort blooms again now, deep and quiet. The deer lowers its head to the pond, and the water ripples outward in perfect circles. As the ripples spread, the music of the stars grows softer, like it is retreating into the distance. You open your eyes and realize, the second secret of the Lost Moon Garden is that the stars do not sing for themselves, they sing for you. The deer turns and begins to walk toward a narrow archway woven entirely of light. Beyond it, the garden seems to shimmer more brightly, as if the next part of your journey will reveal something even more precious. The bridge of moonlight, símbolo de luna creciente destello sola. The archway before you is unlike anything you've ever seen. It is woven entirely from strands of liquid silver light, each thread humming softly with a gentle pulse, as if it has a heartbeat of its own. The silver deer steps gracefully through the arch, and the moment it crosses, the threads ripple outward like water touched by a fingertip. You follow, and as you pass under, a cool tingling sensation brushes over your skin. For a heartbeat, the world around you dissolves. The ground is gone, the air is gone, and for a moment you are weightless, floating in a vast, star-filled expanse. When the world reforms, you find yourself standing on a bridge, but this is no ordinary bridge. It is made entirely of moonlight. Soft, glowing beams stretch across a dark, endless sea, curving far into the distance. Below, the water is so still it seems like black glass, reflecting the night sky above with perfect clarity. Every step you take sends a small ripple of light along the bridge, like you're walking on threads of a great silver harp. The sound it makes is faint and musical, blending with the echo of the star song you heard earlier. The silver deer walks ahead, its reflection mirrored perfectly in the water below. Around you, fireflies of pale blue light drift lazily through the air, leaving slow trails that fade into nothing. You notice their glow matches the pulse of the bridge, it's as if everything here is part of the same quiet rhythm. Halfway across, the deer stops and looks over the edge. You follow its gaze, and your breath catches. Beneath the water's surface, far below, lie gardens, whole fields of flowers that bloom in silver and sapphire light. They sway gently in some unseen current, their petals releasing tiny sparkles that drift upward like constellations being born. The deer speaks inside your mind again, its voice soft as a sigh. The garden is not bound to the earth. It grows wherever there is stillness, even beneath oceans, even between stars. You look out at the endless black horizon, and the truth sinks into you, this place is infinite. The Lost Moon Garden is not just a single location. It's a living dream, blooming wherever hearts are quiet enough to hear it. When you finally reach the far end of the bridge, a great gate stands waiting. It is carved from crystal, yet it appears to be made from solid moonlight. Beyond it, a soft glow hints at something even more wondrous. The deer steps aside, as though inviting you to be the one to open it. Your fingers brush the cool crystal. The gate swings open without a sound. And what lies beyond steals the breath from your lungs. The heart of the Lost Moon Garden, Vía Láctea Hierba, símbolo de luna creciente. The gate opens slowly, and for a moment the light spilling out is so soft and silvery that it feels like mist. You step through, and the air changes instantly. It is warmer here, but not in the way of a summer day, more like the perfect warmth of being wrapped in a blanket after coming in from the cold. The ground beneath your feet is soft and springy, like moss, yet when you glance down, you see it's made from petals. Petals so small and countless they form a carpet that glows faintly under the moonlight. Each step you take releases a faint fragrance, something like jasmine, lavender, and rain mixed together. The heart of the garden is vast. A silver river winds in a slow spiral toward the center, its surface shimmering with moon fragments. Every now and then, one of those fragments floats up into the air, becoming a tiny floating lantern that drifts lazily before vanishing into the star-filled sky. The deer walks beside you, silent for now, as if words are not enough for what you're seeing. Trees rise up on either side, their trunks slender and smooth, glowing faintly from within. Their branches sway gently despite the still air, hung with blossoms that look like falling stars frozen in place. And then you see them, the flowers you glimpsed beneath the black water from the bridge. Here, they bloom in full radiance. Each flower is a soft, glowing orb, its petals transparent at the edges, giving it the appearance of a light captured inside crystal. Some are the color of pale gold, others icy blue, others deep violet that seems to drink in the surrounding light. As you walk, they respond, turning gently toward you, as if curious about your presence. In the center of the spiral river stands something extraordinary. A tree unlike any you have ever imagined. Its bark is a pale silver white, as though carved from the moon itself. Its roots spread wide, drinking from the silver river. And from its branches hang hundreds, maybe thousands, of small orbs of light. Some sway gently, others drift down like fruit ready to fall. You realize with a sudden breath that these are memories. Not your memories, not entirely, but moments from dreamers all over the universe, whispers of joy, fragments of wonder, glimmers of peace. The deer turns to you, and this time its voice is softer, almost reverent. This is the heart of the lost moon garden. Every dream that is gentle enough, every hope that is quiet enough, grows here. They become light, and they wait for someone to carry them home. A breeze you cannot feel stirs the orbs in the tree, and one of them begins to lower itself toward you. Its glow is warm and golden, and as it hovers before your chest, you hear a faint hum, almost like it's alive. The deer nods toward it. It has chosen you. You cup the glowing orb in your hands. It feels weightless yet powerful, as if it holds a secret too big for words. Somewhere deep in your heart, you understand, whatever this is, it will guide you through the rest of your journey here. And far away, beyond the river, something begins to stir. The whisper beyond the river, símbolo de luna creciente, destello sola. The orb in your hands pulses gently, its glow syncing with your heartbeat. You notice that with each pulse, the garden's colors grow richer, as though the orb is awakening the world around you. From somewhere beyond the spiral of the silver river, you hear it, a sound so soft it could almost be imagined. At first, it's just a faint murmur, like wind moving through faraway leaves. But the longer you listen, the more it becomes something distinct, a voice, carrying words you can't quite understand. The deer's ears twitch, and it looks toward the source of the sound. Few hear it, it murmurs. Even fewer follow it. You glance at the river, its spiral shimmering like liquid starlight. Crossing it seems impossible, the waters do not move like ordinary streams. Instead, they swirl in slow, perfect circles, as though protecting the heart of the garden. But then, something extraordinary happens. The orb in your hands warms, and a bridge of light begins to unfurl across the silver water. It's not made of stone or wood, it's woven from tiny glowing threads, each one rippling and shifting like strands of moonlight. It hums softly beneath your feet as you step forward. Halfway across, you pause. From here, you can see more of the garden than before. The spiral shape is clearer now, with small islands of flowers floating like drifting clouds. On some of these islands, you glimpse figures, perhaps other dreamers, though they fade like mist when you try to focus on them. The whisper grows louder. It is a call, you realize. Not in words, but in feelings, a pull towards something vast and ancient. There's comfort in it, but also a deep mystery, as if the voice knows you and has been waiting for you far longer than you've been here. When you reach the far side of the bridge, the air changes again. It feels cooler, infused with a faint silver mist that swirls around your ankles. Shapes move in that mist, shadows that look like petals one moment, feathers the next. The deer follows you closely now, its usual calm tinged with a strange alertness. Beyond this path, it says softly, lies the oldest part of the lost moon garden. The place where dreams are planted. Somewhere up ahead, through the mist, a glow flickers, not steady like your orb, but alive, shifting between colors like the sky before dawn. The whisper is coming from there. You take a breath and step toward it, feeling the silver petals beneath your feet begin to hum. The garden's hidden heart, símbolo de luna creciente, hierba destellos. The mist parts slowly, curling around your ankles like a living thing reluctant to let you pass. The air is thick with the scent of something you've never encountered before, a blend of rain-soaked earth, wild jasmine, and something older, sharper, almost metallic, like the tang of moonlight itself. The silver glow ahead shifts and brightens, revealing an archway made of living vines. These vines are unlike any plant you've ever seen, their stems glimmer faintly, as though threads of light run through them, and their leaves curl into perfect spirals, mirroring the river behind you. Small flowers bloom along their length, each petal shaped like a crescent moon. The deer stops beside you. Its gaze is fixed on the archway, and for the first time since you met it, you sense a trace of reverence in its stance. "This is where it began," it says, its voice barely above a whisper. "Long before the garden had a name." You step closer. The vinyas shift slightly as you approach, as though recognizing your presence. And then, they part. Not torn, not broken, but willingly, opening a pathway that glows faintly under your feet. As you pass through, the world changes again. The hidden heart of the garden stretches before you, a vast circular clearing surrounded by towering moonlit trees. Their trunks shimmer with threads of silver and pale blue, and from their highest branches hang clusters of luminous orbs, swaying gently as though stirred by an invisible breeze. The ground is carpeted in a moss so soft it feels like stepping onto a cloud. Teeny specks of light drift up from it, floating lazily into the air before vanishing like fading fireflies. At the center of the clearing lies a single pool, no larger than a small pond. But this water is unlike the spiral river, it's utterly still, reflecting the night sky above in perfect clarity. You realize with a shiver that the stars reflected in its surface are not the same as those above your head. They are brighter, closer, and arranged in constellations you've never seen before. The whisper you've been following seems to rise from this pool, its sound vibrating faintly in your chest. You kneel beside it, peering into its depths. And as you do, the stars within the water begin to move, swirling into shapes that seem to form a story. You see a vast, dark sky, empty except for a single glowing seed drifting through the void. It lands upon a barren crescent moon, and from it, roots of light spread, weaving the first threads of this dreamlike garden. The deer speaks again, almost to itself. Every dream planted here grows into the world above. Every wish cast here finds its way into a wandering heart. As you watch, the image in the water shifts again, and this time, it shows you. Standing exactly where you are now, the orb still in your hands, but with something else, a shadow behind you, tall and indistinct, reaching toward the pool. The whisper grows louder, wrapping around you, urging you to listen. The shadow by the pool via lactea yerba bela. The whisper becomes almost a hum now, a deep vibration that seems to resonate through the very bones of the hidden heart. You stare into the pool, its surface smooth as glass, yet alive with shifting constellations. And there it is again, that tall, indistinct shadow behind you, unmoving, yet somehow closer than before. You spin around. The clearing lies quiet under the silver glow. The deer stands still, its large dark eyes fixed not on you, but slightly past you, as though it too sees something you cannot. The moonlit trees sway gently, their orbs casting pools of soft light, and the moss beneath your feet muffles every sound. Nothing stirs. But you feel it, a presence. It's not cold, not threatening, but it is ancient. A weight in the air, like the heavy silence just before a storm. You turn back to the pool. The reflection still shows you standing there, yet the shadow is gone. In its place, a faint shimmer ripples across the water, distorting the constellations. Slowly, the ripples gather into a single, perfect circle at the center. From that circle, light begins to bloom. It grows outward in delicate, branching patterns, like frost spreading across glass. And then, without warning, the pool flares, not blinding, but pure, as if it contains the light of 1,000 moons. The deer steps forward, lowering its head to the water's edge. It wants to speak to you, it murmurs. Only those who carry the orb may hear its voice. Your hands tremble slightly as you bring the orb, still warm from your journey, closer to the glowing water. The moment it hovers above the surface, the light rises up to meet it. Threads of silver wind around your wrists, spiraling like living ribbons, drawing you down, down. And then you fall. Not into water, but into light itself. You're weightless, drifting through a void where stars are born. Shapes swirl around you, some like flowers opening in slow motion, others like tiny comets arcing across the emptiness. Every color is richer here, every glimmer sharper. In the midst of this cosmic ocean, a voice finally speaks. Not in words exactly, but in a way your mind understands as language. Psyche, the garden knew you before you came. Your dreams have already touched its roots. But something has followed you here, something that does not belong. You try to ask what, but the light tightens around you, a protective cocoon. You must find the moon's heart before the shadow does. If you fail, this garden will sleep forever. The vision shatters. You lay back in the clearing, gasping. The orb pulses in your hands, as though it too has a heartbeat. The deer watches you carefully. You heard it, didn't you? Somewhere in the darkness beyond the trees, something moves. The breath of the shadow símbolo de luna creciente hierba niebla. The air feels heavier now, seeker, as though the very atmosphere has learned to hold its breath. You can still hear the gentle rustle of leaves high above, but beneath that, something deeper murmurs, like the faint sound of cloth dragging across stone. The deer steps closer, its soft hooves making no sound against the moss. It is here, it says simply, its voice trembling like the last note of a fading song. And it knows you have spoken to the pool. You grip the orb tighter. The silver threads from your vision seem to linger, faintly glowing around your fingers, though now they fade and brighten in slow pulses, like a warning signal. From the far side of the clearing, the mist begins to roll in, not the cool, white mist you have seen before. This is darker, almost blue-black, swirling low over the ground. It doesn't move like normal fog, instead, it flows in deliberate currents, curling around tree trunks and slithering through the grass, as though it is searching for something. The deer's ears flick sharply. It will not harm you yet, it whispers, but it will follow. Always. A shape begins to form within the mist, tall, thin, and impossibly still. There is no detail, no face, just the outline of something standing there, watching. The longer you stare, the more it feels like the darkness is bending around it, as though it is not simply in the garden, but warping it. You try to take a step forward, but your body resists, your legs heavy as stone. Your heartbeat is so loud you almost miss it, the faintest sound of a breath. Not yours. Not the theirs. A long, slow inhale from somewhere inside the mist. The deer suddenly moves, placing itself between you and the shape. It feeds on hesitation, it warns. Do not let it root itself in your mind. Then, a sound like fabric tearing. The mist contracts suddenly, as if sucked inward toward the shadow. The trees groan, their glowing orbs flickering for the first time since you entered the garden. It's as though something has just tasted the light, and found it pleasing. Your instincts scream to run, but the orb flares in your hand, sending a sudden wave of warmth through your chest. Your feet move, not backward but toward the nearest path, a winding archway of flowers leading away from the pool. The deer follows close behind, glancing over its shoulder as the mist seeps back into the trees. When you finally reach the archway, you pause. For the briefest moment, you look back, and the shadow is gone. The clearing lies peaceful again, as though nothing had happened. But deep in your bones, you know it is still there. Waiting. The path of whispering petals, flor de cerezo, vía láctea hierba. The flower archway sways as you step beneath it, petals falling in a slow, spiraling drift, each one catching the faint moonlight before landing softly on the path. At first, it feels like Jube stepped into a tunnel of color, pale blues, silvers, and lavender shades weave together, their scent wrapping around you like a calming blanket. But beneath that peace is a subtle hum. At first you think it's bees or perhaps the gentle vibration of wind passing through the blooms, but then you realize, the flowers are speaking. Not in any language you've heard, but in a rhythm, a pattern of syllables that seem to brush the edge of understanding. You catch fragments: don't stop, keep to the light, the shadow sees. The deer walks beside you, close enough that you can feel the warmth radiating from its fur. These flowers carry the old voices of the garden, it explains quietly. They've seen the shadow come before. They know what it seeks. You look down at the path. The petals on the ground form faint patterns, spirals, circles, and branching lines, almost like maps. You wonder if they might be guiding you somewhere, but the shapes shift each time you blink. The hum grows slightly louder as you walk, and now you notice something odd. The petals ahead fall in clusters only when you take a step forward, as if the path is responding to you. It feels alive, protective. But then, a faint rustle from behind. Not the sound of the deer. Not the sound of petals. You turn just enough to glance over your shoulder, and there, far down the archway you came through, the mist curls at the edges, slipping along the ground. No shadow shape this time, but you know it's there. You can feel its attention, heavy as a hand on your back. The deer leans in, its voice urgent but soft: do not stop walking. The petals will hide your scent if you stay moving. But if you stand still, it doesn't finish the sentence. The flowers ahead seem to open wider as you approach, their silvery stamens glowing faintly. You walk faster now, your breathing slow but steady, the hum of the blooms wrapping around your mind like a lullaby laced with warning. Then, just before the path curves out of sight, the hum suddenly breaks, every petal freezes mid-sway, the air stilling entirely. You and the deer stop in unison, hearts thudding. From the silence comes a single petal, drifting down in slow motion. But instead of glowing silver, it's black. As midnight, its edges smoking faintly. It lands right in the center of the path, and burns away to nothing. The deer lowers its head. It has touched the flowers now, it says quietly. We must move faster. And so, with the hum gone and the petals no longer whispering, you step into the unknown curve ahead, the darkness behind you pressing closer with every breath. The Jardín's breath falters: niebla vía láctea hierba. You round the curve of the petal archway, your steps quick but quiet, the deer pacing beside you. The humming flowers have gone utterly still, no sway, no whisper, no scent drifting in the air. The silence feels wrong, like the world has been gently smothered beneath a heavy cloth. Here, the moonlight is thinner, filtering through tangled vines overhead. Some blooms are closed tight, their petals pressed together as though in fear. Others hang limp, edges curling inward, as if they've been drained of their silver glow. The air smells faintly metallic, like rain on old stone. The deer pauses, nostrils flaring. It's here, it murmurs. Its voice is not fearful, but heavy with certainty. You turn slowly, scanning the garden. The mist is denser now, swirling low over the ground. As it shifts, you glimpse faint movements inside, not shapes exactly, but impressions: the curve of a hand, the glint of something like an eye, a shadow stretching in a way that no living creature should. When you take another step forward, the ground gives a soft sigh beneath your foot, like the earth itself is exhaling in pain. The sound is almost human. Then another, a faint, wheezing exhale from somewhere to your right. You realize with a slow dread, the garden is breathing. Or rather, struggling to breathe. The deer's hairs flick back. The Jardín's breath comes from the moon pool, it says quickly, moving ahead. If it falters, the whole place will fall silent. And in silence, it doesn't need to finish. You already understand, in silence, the shadow can move without resistance. You hurry after the deer, deeper into the winding path. The flowers here are stranger, lone, twisting stalks crowned with translucent petals that seem to be filled with liquid light. But even these shimmer faintly, as if their glow is being leached away. The mist ahead thickens, forming a pale wall. For a moment, you can't see the deer at all. The air is colder here, and every breath you take feels like it lingers too long in your chest before leaving. Then, a sudden whisper in your ear, so close it feels like lips brushing your skin, you can't save it. You whip your head around, but no one is there. The deer glances back, concern in its eyes, but before you can speak, you notice something ahead, a faint, pulsing glow. The moon pool. It's smaller than you imagined, no larger than a pond, but its surface ripples without wind. The light within is dim, its silvery surface flecked with spreading veins of black, like ink dropped into water. Each time the black threads pulse, the garden around you dims just a little more. The deer lowers its head to drink from the pool but hesitates. It's already touched, it says softly. If we don't cleanse it soon, this place will forget it was ever alive. And as you kneel beside the pool, your reflection in its surface blurs, and for just a second, the face looking back at you isn't yours. The vision in the water símbolo de luna creciente gota vía láctea. You lean closer to the moon pool, the silver-black ripples drawing your eyes the way a dream catches hold of a sleeping mind. The air here is cooler than anywhere else in the garden, heavy with the scent of wet stone and something faintly sweet, almost like crushed night blooming jasmine. The deer steps back, as though giving you space. It will show you what it wants you to see, it murmurs. But remember, the pool does not lie. It only reflects what is. You hover your hand over the surface. For a heartbeat, nothing happens, just the soft pulse of dim light beneath your fingertips. Then the water seems to reach upward, tendrils of silver curling around your skin like liquid smoke. The moment your fingers touch the surface, the world tilts. You are falling, but not into darkness. Instead, you sink into a glowing landscape beneath the pool's surface. Here, the garden is not shrouded in mist but alive in full brilliance. The flowers hum like a choir, the moon's light pours down like warm rain, and the air is so rich with scent that every breath feels like nectar. And in the center of it all stands a figure. They are tall, draped in robes made of woven moonlight, their hair a cascade of stardust. Their eyes are pools of deep silver, calm and ancient. They kneel beside the moon pool, pressing their palms to its surface, and the water brightens beneath their touch. Around them, the garden blooms in a rush of color and song. You take a step forward, but the vision shifts. The light dims. The figure lifts their head sharply, as though sensing something, and that's when you see it. A shadow, just at the garden's edge. Not creeping, flowing, like smoke seeking away in the flowers nearest it close instantly, their glow snuffed out as though a cold wind has passed over them. The figure stands, raising one hand. A web of silver light bursts outward, holding the shadow at bay. But even as you watch, the shadow begins to press against it, testing, slipping tendrils between the glowing threads. The figure turns, and for a moment, they seem to look directly at you. Their lips move, forming a single word you cannot hear, and then the vision shatters. You rip back at the edge of the moon pool, gasping, the cold air of the present slapping against your skin. Their eyes are wide. What did you see? It asks. You try to answer, but before the words form, you notice the water beneath you is no longer still. It's reaching again, but this time, it's pulling. They descend into the moon pool o la símbolo de luna creciente destellos. The pull is gentle at first, like the ocean tugging at your ankles on a quiet shoreline. But within seconds, it deepens, a steady, irresistible current wrapping around your wrists, your waist, your thoughts. You try to lean back, but the water feels like it has weight, a will. The silver tendrils slip higher, curling around your arms with the softness of silk, yet holding you with the certainty of iron. The deer steps forward as if to help, but then stops, head tilted, listening to something only it can hear. Its voice is hushed, almost reverent. It has chosen you. If you go, you may not come back the same. Before you can reply, the moon-pool's surface opens like a curtain, and you are drawn in. There is no splash, no sound, only the sensation of slipping into a world where gravity forgets its rules. You drift downward through a corridor of pure light, silver on every side, soft as a dream but bright enough to paint the inside of your eyelids. The air, or is it water? Is cool and smooth, carrying the faint sound of bells ringing far, far away. Shapes begin to emerge in the glow. Fierce, drifting petals, thousands of them, each one carrying a faint shimmer, falling slowly as if through the quietest snowfall. Then, you see gates of carved stone, covered in vines of crystal. They swing open as you approach, and beyond them stretches a garden more vivid than anything in the waking world. The trees here bear fruit shaped like crescent moons, glowing faintly gold instead of silver. The flowers breathe, you can see their petals pulse in and out with a slow rhythm, like the beating of a giant, gentle heart. At the center of it all lies a second pool, smaller, but so clear that you can see its depths spiral downward endlessly. A low hum vibrates through the air, and the moment you step closer, the vision from before returns. The robed figure stands beside this smaller pool, hands outstretched, holding back the same writhing shadow that had crept to the Jardín's edge. But here, the shadow looks larger. Hungry. Its tendrils reach for the light with quiet, deliberate persistence. The figure glances over their shoulder, not in surprise this time, but in expectation. Their eyes meet yours, and you hear their voice inside your mind, calm and resonant. The moon garden is fading. You are the only one who can walk its path now. The hum grows louder, the light around you thickens, and before you can ask what they mean, the ground beneath your feet dissolves into starlight. You are falling again, but this time, you know you're not just traveling deeper into the garden. You are stepping into its memory. The first moon's garden, símbolo de luna creciente, hierba destellos. Your feet touch soft ground again, but it is not the same garden you saw moments ago. The air is warmer here, filled with the scent of new rain and something sweet, like honey drifting on the breeze. The light is not silver, but pearl white, softer, gentler, as though the moon itself is younger, still learning how to shine. Before you stands the moon garden as it once was, in its very first breath of existence. The vines are fresh and green, not yet touched by crystal. The flowers sway as if they have just learned to dance. The sky above is an endless ocean of velvet, and from its center hangs the first moon, enormous, glowing like a lantern cradled in the hands of the universe. Its light spills over the land in shimmering ribbons, weaving across every leaf, every stone, every petal. You can see beings moving through the garden, tall and luminous, draped in flowing garments made from threads of moonlight. Their faces are serene, their eyes holding the reflection of infinite stars. They do not walk so much as glide, leaving behind faint trails of light in the grass. One of them stops near a pool, not the moon pool you fell through, but a smaller one, carved by hand from smooth, pale stone. They kneel beside it and touch the water with a single fingertip. Ripples spread outward, but instead of distorting the reflection, the ripples create images. Beaches of distant worlds, mountains of glass, seas of liquid sapphire, skies painted in auroras that never fade. You realize this is no ordinary water. This is memory made liquid. Every ripple holds the story of a place touched by moonlight. A voice speaks beside you, low, steady, and so close you feel it in your chest. This was the gift of the first moon. A garden where dreams could be planted like seeds, and where they would grow into worlds. Ju turned to see an elder figure, their hair falling like strands of silver silk, their eyes as deep as midnight. They hold a staff made from a single branch of glowing wood, pulsing faintly with light. They walk with you through the garden, speaking in a tone that feels like it has traveled across centuries to reach you. But every gift draws the gaze of the shadow. It waits for cracks, for a moment when the dreamer doubts, and then it slips in. You glance toward the far edge of the garden, and there it is. The shadow is faint here, a mere whisper of darkness curling along the ground. But you see it probing, searching, testing the edges of the moonlight. The elder's voice softens. The moon garden is not dying yet, but the roots have begun to shiver. You were called because the dream itself remembers your name. Before you can ask how the dream could know you, the air shifts. The first moon flares brightly overhead, and all the luminous beings turn their heads toward it. The light thickens until you can no longer see the elder or the beings. The air hums like a great chord being struck. And then, like a wave breaking, the vision shatters, and you are standing back in the present garden, braceless, with the smaller moon pool still before you, and the robed figure waiting. They tilt their heads slightly, as though they know exactly what you've seen. Now, they say, you understand why you are here. The call of the moonlit path Vía Láctea hierba destellos. The moon pool lies still before you, but your heart is anything but calm. The vision of the first moon's garden lingers in your mind, the untouched beauty, the beings of light, the promise of dreams that could grow into worlds. And beneath it all, like a faint crack in porcelain, the memory of that shadow curling along the roots. The robed figure steps closer, their presence like the quiet pull of the tide. The garden is more than a place, they say, their voice threaded with both sorrow and certainty. It is the heart of the moon itself. If it fades, every dream born under its light will wither. Sleep will grow restless. The oceans will forget the rhythm of tides. Even the stars will dim. Do you want to ask why me? But the words feel small against the weight of what you've seen. Still, they seem to hear the question anyway. Because you still dream without fear. The statement sinks into you like a pebble dropped into deep water, rippling outward. You hadn't realized until now how rare that must be, to dream without fear. The figure kneels beside the moon pool and touches its surface. The ripples spread in perfect circles, each one glowing softly, until they form a delicate bridge of light stretching away from the pool into the darkness beyond the garden. This is the moonlit path, they explain. It will take you where the roots run deepest. There, the shadow is strongest, and there it can be undone. You peer at the path. It is not solid in the way stone is, it shimmers like woven threads of starlight, shifting under an invisible breeze. And yet, you know if you stepped onto it, it would hold you. The garden around you changes. The air grows cooler, filled with the sound of rustling leaves and distant, echoing chimes. The flowers tilt their faces toward the path, as if urging you forward. Above, the moon seems larger, its light pooling into silver streams that flow into the bridge. The figure's voice softens, almost a whisper now. You may meet the dreamkeepers along the way, or perhaps the shadow will greet you first. Do not mistake silence for safety. Your hands curl into fists, not from fear, but from a strange, looming resolve. You take one last look at the moon pool, the water calm, its surface holding the faint reflection of the first moon from your vision. You step forward. The bridge hums beneath your feet, sending a quiet vibration up your legs, through your chest, into your bones. The moment your second foot touches the light, the garden behind you melts away, replaced by an endless expanse of night. Ahead, the moonlit path stretches into infinity, weaving between floating islands of silver mist, each one glowing faintly as if they hold forgotten dreams. Somewhere far ahead, a single, steady light shines brighter than the rest, your destination. Behind you, the figure's voice carries through the stillness one last time. Walk until the moon calls your name. And then, you are alone with the stars. The first dreamkeeper símbolo de luna creciente destellos paloma. The moonlit path shimmers beneath your feet, swaying gently. As if it is not fixed in space but drifting along some unseen current. The silence is deep here, not empty, but full of a quiet that feels ancient, like it has been listening for centuries. Your steps make no sound, yet you can feel the bridges hum in your bones. The silver mist that floats alongside it begins to shift, curling in on itself, gathering into shapes. At first, you think they are just wisps of cloud, but then, one of them opens a pair of eyes. They are not human eyes. They are white and luminous, holding every shade of moonlight within them. Slowly, the mist pulls together into a figure, tall, graceful, robed in threads of silver so fine they seem made of liquid light. Wings unfurl from its back, vast and delicate like the feathers of a snow-white heron, though each plume glows faintly as if lit from within. The being steps onto the path without making it waver. The bridge seems to lean toward them, as though it knows this is one of its own. You realize, this must be a dreamkeeper. Their voice is neither male nor female, but a gentle blend of both, carrying the kind of tone that could coax storms into sleep. Travele, they say, you walk toward the roots. But before you go further, the path demands a truth. You swallow. What truth? The dreamkeeper tilts their head, the stars reflected in their eyes. Tell me, they say softly, what is the dream you would protect, even if it cost you everything? The question sinks into you like moonlight into still water. You think of the first moon's garden, of the way it pulsed with life, of how the shadow crept toward it. But deeper than that, you think of the feeling the garden gave you, safety, wonder, and a place where even the smallest dream could grow without fear. You take a breath and answer. The dreamkeeper closes their eyes, as if tasting the sincerity of your words. When they open them again, there is warmth there, and something like relief. Then you may pass, they say, but they raise one hand. Yet know this, the shadow will ask you the same question, but it will not be kind when you answer. From the feathers of their wings, a single plume drifts loose, spinning lazily through the air before landing in your hand. It is warm, and when you hold it tightly, you feel your heart beat steady. The dreamkeeper steps aside. The moonlit path stretches onward, its light brighter now. As you pass, they bow their head, and their final words follow you into the mist. Carry your dream as if it were the moon itself. You walk on, the feather in your palm glowing faintly, unaware that far ahead, the shadow is already waiting. The island of sleeping constellations Vía Láctea destellos paloma. The moonlit path carries you forward, the silver mist thinning until you see the faint outline of land ahead, not anchored to any world, but drifting alone in the ocean of stars. It is shaped like a crescent, and its edges glow as if rimmed with molten pearl. Your feet touch the soft ground, and the moment you step onto it, everything changes. The air is warmer, the stillness heavier. Above you, the stars seem impossibly close, so close you could almost reach up and brush your fingertips along them. Then, you realize, they are not stars. They are beings, each shaped from light and memory, lying across the sky as if in an endless dream. Their forms are vast, stretching from horizon to horizon, a great lion curled in eternal slumber, its mane glowing faintly, a swan with wings folded, its feathers drifting down like falling snow, a woman holding an empty jar, from which a slow stream of stardust spills into the air. These are the sleeping constellations, ancient watchers who have not stirred for centuries. You can feel their dreams vibrating faintly in the air, 1,000 soft pulses of memory and hope. Every breath you take seems to carry a fragment of their stories. The ground itself hums gently under your feet. You kneel and press your palm against it, and in that instant, a vision opens before you. You see a time when these constellations walk the skies freely, shaping rivers of light, guiding travelers lost in the void. But then, a darkness crept across the heavens, carrying silence like a disease. One by one, they lay down to sleep, their glow dimming, their dreams sealed away to keep them safe. A soft sound breaks your trance. It is not a star's voice, nor the wind, but a whisper, so faint you almost miss it. Do you see them? You look around. The island is empty except for you and the great sleepers. They are not sleeping because they wish to, the voice continues, curling around your thoughts like smoke. They are trapped, by those who would protect them. Something cold runs through you. The dream que perece warning flickers in your mind. The whisper grows smoother, almost kind. The feather you carry, it is a chain, not a gift. If you wish to wake them, you must let it go. Your hand tightens instinctively around the silver plume. Warmth flows from it, steady and comforting. Yet the beast's words cling to you like shadows, planting a seed of doubt. You glance at the constellations, their faces serene, their bodies unmoving. Would waking them free the heavens, or destroy them? The air here is heavy with choice. Somewhere ahead, you know the path will demand your answer. But for now, the island remains silent, holding its breath as the whisper fades back into the darkness. The moonlit path waits at the far end of the crescent shore, glowing softly, leading you toward what lies ahead, and toward the Sadop's true voice. The shadow at the horizon, símbolo de luna nueva destellos. The moonlit path narrows as you step away from the island of sleeping constellations. Behind you, their glowing forms rest unchanged, but their silent presence weighs heavily in your mind. The whisper still lingers, curling through your thoughts like unseen smoke. The silver plume in your hand feels heavier now, not in weight, but in meaning. It radiates a steady warmth, as if reminding you of its purpose, yet the Sadop's words keep echoing. It is a chain, not a gift. The horizon ahead shimmers faintly, like heat rising from desert sands. But here, in this ocean of stars, there is no heat, only an endless cold that brushes against your skin. As you walk, the path becomes softer, dissolving into wisps of silver light. You realize you are no longer standing on solid ground but walking through starlight itself, each step sinking slightly, like footprints in powdery snow. Then, the shimmer on the horizon sharpens. It moves. From the nothingness ahead, a figure emerges, first as a ripple, then as a silhouette. Its shape is tall but indistinct, its edges flickering as though it is made of smoke and night. There are no eyes, no mouth, only shifting darkness, but somehow you feel its gaze pierce straight through you. A low sound hums in your ears, not exactly a voice, but the vibration of a thought taking shape. You have wandered far, dreamy. The shadow tilts its head. Silver threads spiral around its form, twisting like vines. You have seen their prison. You have touched their chains. But still, you hold the feather. Your grip on the plume tightens. It's not a chain, you hear yourself say, though your voice sounds softer here, as if the starlit air is swallowing your words. The figure leans closer, and the silver threads snap away into the darkness. You trust the keeper, it whispers, but the keeper hides truths from you. Those constellations could walk again, if only you had the courage to free them. Its voice is neither cruel nor kind, it is steady, deliberate, as if it already knows the answer you will give. The space between you and the shadow begins to twist, forming a door-shaped outline of darkness. Step through, and I will show you the truth they do not want you to see. The moonlit path glows faintly to your left, offering its own route forward, away from the Sadop's call. You stand at the crossroads of light and darkness. The silver plume warms your palm, the shadows pull chills your spine. Somewhere ahead, a choice waits that will decide not only the fate of the constellations, but the very shape of the night sky. The shadow extends its hand. And what's the door of forgotten light, luna creciente menguante ola. The silence between you and the shadow thickens, like the pause before a storm. The doorway it offers, a hollow cut from the fabric of the starlit horizon, ripples gently, its edges glimmering with faint, almost invisible colors. At first glance, it is nothing more than darkness, but when you stare, you see fleeting shapes within, silver rivers flowing backward, moons crumbling into dust, stars pulsing like heartbeats. The moonlit path to your left feels warm beneath your feet, though you are no longer certain it is solid. The Keeper's presence, faint but familiar, hums in your chest, a distant reminder of your purpose. Yet, the shadow's invitation tugs at you in a deeper way, like a thread sewn into your dreams long before you were born. You glance at the silver plume in your hand. Its light swells slightly, reacting to the nearness of the doorway. The warmth is still there, but now it feels layered, like a candle hiding a flicker of something colder beneath its flame. The shadow tilts its faceless head, sensing your hesitation. This is not betrayal, it murmurs, voice low and steady. It is clarity. They have shown you a sky of beauty, but not its price. The garden you seek was not lost by accident. The words sink into you. The lost moon garden, the heart of your journey, suddenly feels more distant, as though layers of truth lie between you and its gates. You take a step forward. The doorway breathes, drawing in starlight from the horizon around it. You hear a faint trickle, like water sliding over stone, though the sound is not coming from this world at all. It comes from beyond. Behind you, the constellations remain unmoving, still trapped, still. Glowing softly against the deep dark. Ahead, the moonlit path stretches on, promising safety. And here, the Sadop's threshold whispers with danger, and answers. The silver plume flares one last time, as if warning you. Your heart beats slower, sinking with the hum of the doorway. And then, you choose. Whether it is light or shadow you step toward, the moment feels irreversible. The world folds in on itself, the starlit sea vanishes, and your body feels lighter, wetleys, like you are falling upward instead of down. Somewhere in the distance, the shadow speaks one last time, its tone unreadable. Now you will see. The fall stops abruptly. You open your eyes, and find yourself standing in a place that should not exist. The place that should not exist, Vía Láctea hierba símbolo de luna creciente. You stand at the edge of a sky that isn't a sky at all. Above you, the heavens fold in strange, geometric layers, stars arranged in spirals, cubes, and rivers that curve sideways before melting into violet mist. There is no sun, no moon, yet light pours over everything in shifting hues, as if the air itself is painted with liquid dawn. Beneath your feet, the ground is soft but not earth, it feels like walking on woven threads of moonlight, each strand humming faintly under your weight. When you move, the threads ripple outward in perfect circles, as if Jubei stepped into the skin of a giant, glowing pond. Far ahead, you see gardens, but not the moon garden Jubei imagined. Here, trees grow upside down from the air, their roots stretching toward the ground like glowing chandeliers. Their leaves are transparent, filled with drifting sparks, and when a breeze passes through them, they sing, not like wind in branches, but like a choir of faraway voices. Between the trees, pools of still water hold reflections of worlds Jubei never seen, deserts with twin suns, oceans boiling with sapphire steam, cities floating on clouds. The reflections shimmer as though aware of your gaze, shifting to hide and reveal details in slow, deliberate rhythms. The air smells of rain after a storm, but sweeter, like flowers blooming in moonlight. Every breath you take feels heavier, richer, as if each inhale is thick with memory. You sense that this place is watching you, not with malice, but with quiet curiosity, like an ancient library turning its pages in your direction. Somewhere to your right, a narrow path of silver stones leads deeper, winding between the hanging gardens. At the far end, you think you see movement, a pale, winged figure kneeling beside one of the pools, its reflection showing something entirely different from its real form. Behind you, the doorway you stepped through is gone. Only the strange sky remains, infinite and layered. For the first time since your journey began, you realize you might not be in the same world at all. And then, faintly, the keeper's voice brushes against your thoughts, so distant you almost miss it. Be careful. Not all gardens are meant to be found. The path of silver stones seems to pause once, inviting you forward. The winged watcher símbolo de luna creciente paloma destellos. You take your first step onto the path of silver stones, and the moment your foot touches the surface, a ripple of light spreads outward, like moonlight poured into water. The stones hum beneath you, a soft vibration that seems to synchronize with your heartbeat, guiding your pace without words. The air grows cooler as you walk, scented with a fragrance you can't name, a blend of fresh rain, crushed mint leaves, and something older, like parchment left to rest in starlight. The upside-down trees sway above, their luminous roots brushing the air with threads of light, some almost close enough to touch. When you pass under them, the glowing roots twitch slightly, as if acknowledging your presence. Ahead, the winged figure shifts. Its wings are not feathery like a bird's, nor leathery like a bat's, they are made of thousands of thin, translucent panels, each one glowing faintly from within, etched with patterns that look like constellations. Every time the figure moves, the panels click softly, rearranging into new shapes, creating entirely new constellations with each motion. It kneels beside a circular pool of black water, the surface smooth as glass. In the pool's reflection, you do not see the upside-down gardens or the strange layered sky, instead, you see a vast ocean under a blood-red moon. Waves crash in total silence, as if the sound has been stolen. The figure does not look at you at first, but you feel its awareness prickling in your mind. Finally, it tilts its head slightly, and you glimpse a face that seems to change each time you blink, one moment a serene woman with eyes like deep wells of silver, the next a weathered old man with skin like carved stone, the next, something with no human features at all. When it finally speaks, the voice enters your head without passing through your ears. You've walked far, it says slowly, but you do not yet understand where you are. You try to speak, but your words dissolve before leaving your lips. The figure gestures toward the black pool. Look deeper, it whispers. The moon garden you seek grows in places where time itself cannot follow. As you kneel beside the pool, the reflection shifts, and you see yourself, standing somewhere you've never been, yet something inside you feels as if you've been there 1,000 times before. The figure leans close, and the panels of its wings shimmer like 1,000 tiny moons. Do you wish to go there? It asks. You feel the pull, not just of curiosity, but of destiny. The black pool's passage Vía Láctea ola destellos. The wind watcher's question lingers in the still air, vibrating inside your thoughts like a low, steady chime. You feel it not in your ears, but deep in your bones, an invitation, a warning, a test. Your gaze drifts back to the black pool. It is impossibly still, so perfectly flat that it feels less like water and more like a solid disk of liquid night. The reflection it offers is alive, moving independently of you, as though another version of yourself is already waiting on the other side. You reach a hand toward the surface, half expecting it to feel cold. But when your fingertips graze it, the sensation is nothing like water. Instead, it's like dipping your hand into a thread of wind made visible, a sensation that slips between your skin and your thoughts, turning them silver and weightless. The winged watcher steps closer, folding its constellation wings in a slow, deliberate motion. The panels click together, aligning into a perfect circle, a mirror of the pool itself. Once you step through, the voice echoes in your mind, you cannot walk back the same way. You will not lose yourself, but you will not be the same. You take a deep breath, feeling the strange coolness rising up your arm. You step forward, and the surface ripples out in expanding rings of silver light. The first step swallows your foot. The second takes your knee. By the third, your chest is submerged in the cool, weightless dark. Yet you do not sink, you flow. The moment your face dips beneath the surface, you expect to hold your breath, but instead, you inhale effortlessly. The liquid night enters your lungs like air spun from dreams. Around you, the darkness blooms with points of light, stars forming, collapsing, reforming. You are moving through a slow-motion storm of creation, galaxies turning inside out, nebulae folding into oceans, and oceans folding into skies. Then, without warning, the sensation of falling begins, but it's not downward. You are falling sideways, tumbling between layers of reality like pages of a book being turned in the wrong direction. When you finally stop, the darkness dissolves. You stand on a shore unlike any you've ever seen, a silver. You pass between two towering plants whose broad leaves are etched with shifting patterns of moon runes. As you glance up, the patterns rearrange themselves into symbols that seem to speak directly to your heart, telling you without words that you are welcome here, but watched. The deeper you move into the moon garden, the more you notice the unsettling beauty of it. The flowers open wider as you pass, revealing deep wells of black at their centers, and in those wells, the faint reflection of eyes. Not your own. You pause, realizing the garden is not silent. Beneath the sigh of the wind, there is a layered whisper, as if every plant is breathing words into the night. You cannot yet understand them, but you feel they are speaking about you. Somewhere ahead, beyond the glowing vines and silver-barked trees, the sound of water grows stronger. It calls to you, not like a voice, but like a memory you've forgotten yet long to remember. And as you step closer, the moon above seems to tilt slightly, watching.